double hey, San Francisco Bay, Monterey. My name's Alexander.
And I'm Dr. Shasta.
And we're back with Your Healthy Living here on another wonderful Tuesday in Campbell, California.
Yep. It's just about summer, so I'm enjoying that.
You know, we were just saying how long the days are. This is so cool to at least, be able to get out of the studio and go home and not have to turn your lights on in your car.
It is really nice.
It's great. Well,
it's very relaxing.
It is. Everybody knows Dr. Shasta is a very accomplished acupuncturist here in the Campbell area, right?
San Jose.
San Jose, Campbell. You got an office right down the street.
Yep.
And I've been doing wealth management for 24 years, and this is just so much more fun. Let me just put it that way.
This is really fun.
Hanging with a pretty lady, talking about really neat subjects and
Kindness in Your Soul.
Yes, the Kindness in Your Soul Network. That's what KIYS stands for, of course. And don't forget to check out our Facebook at KIYS Radio and KIYSradio.com to see all our shows and all our programs and everything else.
And today we have someone from my church. We have David Gamow.
How neat.
And he specializes in stress management and leadership training. He's trained over 35,000 people, including the Special Forces, 911 responders, and even the San Jose Fire Department. He teaches people how to get out of the fight or flight so that they actually can be present to the situation and make very powerful, cognitive, present decisions in very important. He's even talked people down from suicide.
It's such an interesting subject, David. What got you into the idea of helping people with stress? I mean, how'd you get into the business?
Well, it didn't start with that directly. It really started with me. I knew people usually work very hard to get good at their craft.
Right.
I mean, you do your job. You said you did wealth management. There's a lot to learn. You learn your technology, your computer. I kind of figured that whatever I wound up doing with the rest of my life, I was going to be a human being.
Right.
And I was going to have a human mind. And it kind of made sense to me to explore how the mind worked. And that's really how I got started in this. So it really started in the sense of self-exploration. How does my mind work? You know, you wake up one day and you feel great. And you wake up the next day and you feel lousy. What changed? I'll give you a hint. It wasn't the universe.
Right.
It was you. So we kind of act as if these things happen at random. Oh, I happen to have a bad day. And I sort of figured, there has to be a physics to this. So I've spent really the rest of my life since I was a very young man studying the human mind. And I like to think that I learned a couple of things in all of that searching and research. And now I have some things I'd like to share with other people because it's tough out there. And you can work as hard as you possibly can to get your life organized. But if your mind is not your friend, it's not going to work.
Yeah, isn't that true? Yeah,
that is so true.
You gotta have a relationship with yourself somewhere and be able to tell yourself what to do. That's just kind of fascinating how you took something that you were so interested in and developed it into a career of helping other people cope. I mean, because this world is crazy nowadays. I mean,
everything's so fast-paced.
It seems worse than it's been in a long time for me. Everybody's kind of losing their mind and stuff.
It does seem that way. I mean, the level of rancor and bitterness and mocking and all of that. And it's not just the U.S. This is happening all over the world.
Huh.
It's not a pleasant thing.
No, not at
all. We can only do what we can do. I mean, I don't have any delusions of grandeur here, like I'm going to change the planet. But the people I've been able to touch really have changed. I have hundreds and hundreds of letters from people saying, this has really changed my life.
See, and here's the thing too. It just only takes really affecting 1, 2, 3 and moving past that. That's so brilliant. I'm excited about talking to you. We'll be right back after this short break, and we'll talk more to David Gamow.
At Way of Wellness, we help to rebalance the hormones of your body so that it can heal itself. Way of Wellness offers acupuncture, Chinese medicine, functional nutrition, Qi yoga, and wellness coaching. Call 408-615-1995 and start living the life that keeps us well.
Hey, everybody. My name's Alex Andrew.
And I'm Dr. Shasta.
And we're back with Your Healthy Living, talking about dealing with stress and leadership and all sorts of things that make people better when you can handle that kind of stuff.
Right. And where are we taught how to do that in our society?
Yeah,
we really aren't.
You don't get this in schools,
you don't get it
David?
in schools.
I mean,
no. No, it's unfortunate. I mean, I really understand that schools try and keep out values because people
Yes.
sometimes disagree about values.
Right.
And this group doesn't like what they're saying, this group. But a basic value like how to be happy, how to be kind, how to
Right.
marshal your energy to get a task done. Those are values, but good gosh, who doesn't want that stuff?
Right. Right.
But the school, and I understand it, but the school administrations are so terrified of introducing a value that all of that's left out.
Right.
And I understand it's important to know that 3 times 3 is 9. It's not one or the other, but to completely leave out what it is that makes us human, I think is a serious mistake.
Yeah.
I
Well,
agree with
nowadays,
that.
I don't know the new math. I don't think 3 times 3 equals 9 anymore. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. I was
Just so
talking
you know, I was feeling a lot of stress. Maybe I was going to get that wrong and say 3 times 3.
to.
But I managed to overcome it. I got
But see, you realized it. And you have the skills to take that over. That's
I
awesome,
made it.
And
David.
I'm dyslexic, so those numbers are terrible for me. I get it. So you were saying earlier that you work with the physics of the human mind. Would you
Yes.
like to share a little bit more about what you mean when you say that?
Sure. You don't have to believe a particular thing to put into practice the things that I teach. It's not a dogma. It's not a set of beliefs. It's physics. I mean, look, some people still think the world is flat, and I can't help them. But everything that I teach has been clinically proven at Harvard, MIT, UMass, Stanford, etc. This is how the mind works. You feel stress when the world is different than you want it to be.
Right.
That's just a fact. So you have 2 options. You can get the world to be just like you want in every circumstance. How's that working for you? Right?
Right.
Or you can change what you think you need and want. And all of our pain is caused by a misperception, by various misperceptions. You really believe that you can't be happy until you have the respect of your father. And that's false. It's just false. There is no causality between an external event and how you have to feel. There is no
That's true.
causality between an external event and how you have to feel about that event. But we think there is. So of course I'm angry because he was nasty to me. There's no causality there. He can be completely nasty and you can be just fine. I sometimes call the program we do martial arts for the mind. This is the mental component of martial arts training. You go up to a great martial artist and you slap him across the face with the back of your hand, there is no stress response. There is no stress response. That doesn't mean he's passive, but you can't get him to react out of control because he's upset. But he's not passive. If he decides to take you out, you're in big trouble.
Right.
It's not about being passive, but this is why we train emergency service personnel. Because when a cop on the beat gets this wrong, it's the front page of the newspaper.
Right.
You need to learn how to be, and it's not control by clamping down, like, I'm under control. It's changing your perception. If I can share a little story, a little image.
Sure.
Suppose you're standing on a bus and it's a crowded bus, so there are no seats. So you're in the aisle holding the strap and someone bumps into you really hard from behind and you're annoyed. It's like, geez, I know it's crowded, but watch what you're doing. You turn around and you see that the person who bumped you is completely blind. What happens to your annoyance?
Disappears.
You look like nice guys. We'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
Exactly.
Instantly, your stress drops 90%. Now notice, the pain didn't go away. Hurt ribs do not cause stress. You didn't stuff your feelings. This is not about your behavior. This is about what's going on in your head. You didn't stuff your feelings. You didn't go for therapy. You didn't practice any tips. You didn't listen to soothing music. You didn't pet your dog. You didn't go running. So what happened? Instantly, your stress dropped 90%. You made no effort and nothing changed in your circumstance. Why did your stress drop to 90%? Because
the way
your
you
perception
perceived it.
Right. You perceived it. Yeah, you perceived it differently.
It's the only thing that changed. I'm telling you, the next time someone hurts you, the person who hurt you is blind.
Right.
Let it go. You're
Yeah.
blind. I'm blind. Every one of us has done something stupid before, has lied before, has done something wrong before. It is not your business why the other person is doing what they're doing. You've got a job, and your job is to work on what's going on in your head. And when you're upset about someone else's behavior, you have a problem. And I work with people to see that. And instead of blaming everyone around them all the time, they start working on what's going on in their head.
Do you teach them like meditation practices?
Meditation is part of it. That's part of it. We do a good bit with meditation. Without going, I don't want to get all clinical here. Meditation actually changes the neural processing in your brain. We talked about the fight or flight response.
Right.
That's the limbic system, the limbic part of the brain. Clinical studies, as I said, Harvard, MIT, UMass, have proven that people who meditate spend less time in their limbic system and a lot more time in their left prefrontal lobe. That's the part of your brain that's active when you're feeling good, when you're feeling creative, when you're hanging out with your friends. Believe me, you want to spend a lot more time up here and a lot less time back here.
Right.
How much time do you recommend to people when you teach them to be meditating every day?
As much as you're willing to do. We ask for people through the program 30 minutes a day.
Okay. And how long does your
hours and hours and hours on your body?
Mm-hmm.
You get dressed, you brush your teeth, you shower, you comb your hair, you drive your car. How much time do you spend working on your mental health?
Right.
Right. I totally agree.
Makes sense why people's necks hurt when they're stressed out, right? Because that's where you're putting all your power in your brain.
That's right, huh?
Your muscles tighten up all over your body.
Right.
Right. It's like the hair on the back of a dog's neck.
I mean, just to say, I hope you can take me at face value. We do this program, and one of the things we do at the beginning, we ask who in this room has pain right now. And 10, 15 hands go up.
Right.
Neck ache, headache. After the breathing exercises, how many people in this room feel significantly less pain? And 80% of the people who raised their hands said, my pain is gone.
Yeah, it's so connected.
One session. You do this every day, it'll change your life. It's physics.
Right.
Again, this isn't me. This is how the mind works. If you do that, if I said to you, if you lift this barbell every day for 6 months, at the end of 6 months, your muscles will be stronger. You wouldn't say, how do you know? I mean, I don't know. You lift weights, your muscles get stronger.
Right.
What can I tell you? How much stronger, how fast? I have no idea. But you got to get stronger if you lift weights every day.
Right.
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 So, in the ancient traditions of basically raising your vibrations, and then your perceptions are greater, and your intuition, of every kind is possible. Right. Astral travel is a possibility. You've had that experience before.
Yes.
The book Autobiography of a Yogi talks about these types of principles of meditation and raising your vibrations and opening your energy bodies. And then your intuitive and perceptive powers. So are these practices you teach along those lines of helping people have more control through their breathing practices and their thought processes?
You can use this in lots of different ways. Let me put it that way. When I'm teaching at a government agency, I don't go there because it's not what I'm doing.
So how do you tailor it for different people that you teach?
Well, yes and no. I mean, what I do is I train corporations and government agencies. That's really what I do. I mean, I'll throw in a little plug. Why not? I also teach at a retreat called the Expanding Light Retreat, and I'm doing a program at the end of June that is specifically how to develop intuition and guidance, how to know and trust your inner guidance. Everyone wants to feel God's voice, and everyone spends all day walking around with their fingers in their ears.
Right, right.
How come I'm not hearing God's voice? Why don't I know what the next step is in my life?
Right.
And what I teach in that
really
week is basically, honestly, how to do this. That's it. Get your fingers out of your ears, and maybe you'll hear something.
Right.
So I'm doing that weekend at the end of June at the Expanding Light Retreat. That's that other part of my life. When I do clarity seminars work for corporations and government agencies, I don't go there because it's not appropriate. And this is what I meant about physics. This is the physics of the human mind. Once you've mastered that, you can take it anywhere you like. When Jesus said, be still and know, what do you think that is?
Right.
Meditation. What else could it be? Be still and know. Don't wiggle your foot and you'll know. That doesn't even make sense. Be still and know.
I love that reference. And we're going to talk a little bit about how this fits into leadership right after this break. Thank you. Stay tuned to KIYS Video Web Radio Network.
I do traditional Chinese medicine, and that includes 5 different branches: acupuncture, massage, yoga, tai chi, qigong, herbal medicine, and nutrition. It is amazing in helping the body heal itself, that it releases the body's natural endorphins, serotonin and seems to rebalance the hormones of the body.
Lower back pain was taken care of very quickly. 6 treatments and I was pain-free. And this was like 3 years ago and I've remained pain-free.
I've grown up in the Bay Area and I have had my own practice for over 15 years. When I was 12, I decided I want to be an acupuncturist, and by the time I was 25, I was licensed.
I have thyroid condition and stress, big time. When I walk out, I'm feeling like a whole different person. It's definitely a blessing to be able to come here.
I love helping women have babies, and the day that they actually get pregnant, the look in their eye is like, it's the best thing ever.
I've been struggling trying to get pregnant for the past 3 or 4 years. I came to Shasta. I would totally recommend her to anyone out there that is trying to get pregnant. She will do great for you.
Way of Wellness has to do with living a life that keeps us well.
Hi there, this is Alexander with It's All About the Show. You know, I've been with Money Concepts since 1994, and they have been the primary catalyst for my success as a financial advisor. If you're looking for a career change and you want to help people for a living, check out moneyconcepts.com/ALEE or call 946-8378 today.
Hey, double hey, San Francisco Bay, Monterey. My name's Alexander.
And I'm Dr. Shasta.
And we're having fun talking about brains and egos and
Physics
perceptions
of the human
and
mind
physics. And this is
shifting
fun.
our perception.
You're having fun,
this
aren't
is
you?
really fascinating.
Oh, good.
Really, really interesting.
Yeah.
I always don't know how the first responders handle what they have to handle.
My mom always
Just
wanted me to be a
amazing.
paramedic, and I thought, I don't know if I can handle that, going to the scene and the kind of stuff that they see day in, day out. It's like being in Vietnam or something. I can't imagine, of course.
I can't imagine either. So you were saying earlier that not only do you teach the stress management, but you also teach leadership training. So would you like to share a little bit more about
How does
that?
that blend?
Well, because what we do in the stress course is we teach people how to master their reactive process. And it's not mastering like bearing down under control. That just gives you ulcers.
Right.
It's about getting it right so you see the world around you in a way that doesn't create the stress response. That's crucial to being a leader. Because if you're a leader in an organization, you can blow 5 years of credibility in front of your staff in 3 seconds by saying the wrong thing.
Right.
No leader wakes up and thinks, I think I'll be an idiot today. We hope. Okay.
Although they all are sometimes.
Well, I didn't say that. I said they don't plan on it. And what happens is, look, you can take the best leadership training in the world, but 6 months from now, when push comes to shove and it gets difficult with your people, you're not going to remember what that leadership trainer said 6 months ago unless you can master your reactive process. This is what martial artists do, martial arts for the mind. If you get in your limbic system, your training goes out the window. Martial artists have learned to immediately get dispassionate about what's happening around them. Now your training can kick in. Dispassionate doesn't mean, I hope you can feel the passion in me. I love my work.
Right.
It doesn't close your heart and it doesn't mute you in a way, but it leaves you centered so that you can do the right thing instead of the reactive thing. And that's crucial if you're a leader.
That's
You
true.
have to get that right.
How many hours, how many days, what does a normal workshop or someone hire you for?
It's a half day.
Half of a day.
Oh, that's cool.
And how many people can you train at one time?
Well, we've done from 3 to 600.
Okay.
Cool.
So somewhere between 3 and 600, though I probably could do more. So quite honestly, I like to really feel the energy of the person in the room.
Right.
So I like to cap it at like 40. But if you do a big conference, I would rather reach 300 people, 90% each person, than 40 people, 100% each person, if you know what I mean. So if it's a giant conference, I'm not going to turn it down because I want to reach people with this message.
Do you have follow-ups?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. How do you? It sounds like you're creating a habit here, in essence, right? Of being able to do something. So in a half day, I'm guessing you have.
We give people take homes.
Okay.
Take homes.
People who take our program get a CD or an MP3 with guided exercises. They get lots of handouts. And what I'm really looking for is to get this aha experience.
Right.
Because telling people that, you know, in The Wizard of Oz, you know that great scene where Toto pulls the curtain back?
Mm-hmm.
And you can see that horrible, scary wizard is just the man behind the curtain, right?
Right.
Once you've seen that your stress is just the man behind the curtain, it never quite has the same hold on you again.
Right.
The image is still scary, but you know it's just the man behind the curtain. And really, nothing is happening.
Right.
So I look for this aha experience. I mean, if I can tell a quick story, I mean, this is hilarious. I'm doing the program. It's a normal sized group. It's about 40 people in the room. And suddenly this guy in the middle of the room yells, "Hey!" And everybody turns around and looks at him. He just blurts it out in the middle. I'm in the middle of speaking. And I said, "Yes." And it happens sometimes. He just had an aha experience. So I said, "Yes." And he said, "This is fantastic." And I said, "What? Do you mind sharing?" He says, "No, I'll share." So forgive me. I'm just going to quote him. I said, "What?" He said, "I just realized something." "Yes." "I don't have to hate my mother-in-law."
Wow.
She's the biggest pain in the rear end in the world. That doesn't have to drive me crazy.
Right.
They're two independent events.
Right.
She's in the corner being a pain, and I don't have to eat it.
Right.
And he was so excited. I thought he was going to pass out. He came up to me and said, "Oh my God, 11 years this woman's been driving me nuts. It's over. She no longer owns me." If you're in a situation and you can't stand it, you have a problem.
Right.
I'm not taking her off the hook. I'm not forgiving her behavior. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm not making excuses. But if you can't stand it, you're her slave.
Right.
That's stress.
Yeah.
There's no causality between an external event and how you have to feel.
And
And if you get that, it's life-changing.
So it's really about finding the peace within yourself to understand who you are as a human being. And in my book, I kind of wrote about not wanting to become a monk and just stand around and be like, okay, well, I'm vibrating at this really high level, but all I'm doing is sitting in a robe all day with my fingers touching each other going, hum. And I want more out of life. I want to feel that passion, like you were saying. So there's that little, I don't know if it's a fine line, but there is that little fulcrum of,
It's not a line. It's not a line. It's a misunderstanding.
Okay.
It's a continuum. Okay. So it's not either or. That's really what I'm saying. There's no dichotomy there.
Right. It's not either or. It's both and, in essence.
And aren't
essentially, just because someone's running around doing stuff doesn't mean he's not perfectly calm and centered in the middle.
Right.
And just because some guy looks perfectly calm and centered in the middle
doesn't mean
he's not going nuts in his own head.
Right.
So you can't really judge it from the outside. I mean, you look at a great saint like Yogananda. The guy moved mountains. He was always active, running around, doing all this stuff, but he was perfectly anchored in the higher self.
Right.
So you can't judge it that way. But to do that gives you more power. I mean, I've done a lot of stuff. I mentioned during the break, I've had 2 different securities licenses. I'm managing East West Bookshop. It's probably my 11th business turnaround. I started this. I had a wholesale business with 300 retail stores I was selling to, all kinds of stuff. I don't just sort of sit around and look at my navel.
Right.
But in fact, martial artists are 1,000 times more effective than most of us.
Yes.
Because their mind is disciplined and under their control. They don't waste time. They're effective at what they do. So I would argue that practicing what I'm talking about gives you more power, not less. You don't just sit around all day because you can do more stuff.
Right. Well, right. You're not frightened or fearful of what's outside. So you're out just getting it done and asking the questions that you were afraid to ask before.
Exactly.
Yeah,
what is it I need to do to succeed at this? That is your only question. Because whether it threatens your ego or whether it'll make you look bad or whether it's too hard, or none of those questions are relevant. You can put all of your energy into getting the job done. Right. You know why a magnet is magnetic? Because every molecule in that magnet has a north and south pole. For most metals, those poles are every which way.
Right.
They're pointed all over the place. In a magnet, all the north-south poles are lined up. That's what makes it magnetic. Most people have the magnets in their head scattered every which way.
Right.
And half of what you're thinking is self-defeating for the other half of what you're thinking.
Right.
If you can get your magnetism together and get those things lined up, people can be 100 times more effective at what they're doing.
Exactly.
What do you think of the age of technology and
people burying in cell phones? And
people being stuck in their cell phones. They're, all these hit
it's almost a distraction.
text messages all day, and I mean, do you think that could be something that has taken people off of their center? And do you encourage people to turn their cell phones off during your?
No, what I encourage people to do, yes, what you're saying is right, but it's like swimming upstream. And if you're using all the technology, you're now swimming upstream.
Right.
So all that means is you need to become a better swimmer.
Right.
So for every hour and a half you spend on your your stupid technology, but we need that stuff. It makes us 1,000 times more effective.
It does. Right.
Spend a half an hour meditating.
Right.
That's the antidote. If you do yoga postures and you bend very severely to the right,
right.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing this
that
posture.
Makes sense.
Then you're supposed to bend very severely to the left.
Do more meditation if you're going to be.
That's right. Well, it's a
highly
balance.
Stimulated.
That's where kind of that both and comes in.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to be here, you got to kind of bring it back. And the yogis or whatever, they're balanced, they're zen. I'm feeling pretty balanced right now.
Use your technology.
Well, I do.
That's right.
I think this is just so
but accept
important.
the fact that it warps you out of space a little bit,
Right.
and do something to offset that warp.
Right.
That makes sense. How can people get a hold of you, David? Because this is really valuable and very
it's
important.
awesome.
Do you teach? Do you go into schools also, school districts, and teach this?
Well, I'll tell you that there's a school that uses these principles that has turned lives around.
Is that
it's called Living Wisdom School.
Yes.
Living Wisdom School.
Yeah, we had
you have
Kabir
someone-
on here last week.
Kabir was on last
Very
week.
excited
It
about
was-
his
He
school.
was
I
fun.
am such a backer of that. Kids need to learn this stuff.
I
Waiting
agree.
until you're 40 to learn this stuff.
Right.
You're half dead already.
So
Exactly.
what's your email address or website that people can get a hold of
The
you on?
website is clarityseminars.
ClaritySeminars.com.
Clarity Seminar. And do you have a phone number, or just go to your website?
The website's really the best thing. I'm out all the time. You'll just hear
Well-
my voice saying, hello, leave a message.
Thank you for what you're doing, David.
We really
Really-
appreciate it. Yeah, we'll definitely be talking too. I want to talk to you about my book, and I think we got a lot of stuff on the level here with us. So stay tuned to KIYSradio.com for the next program we have on. Thank you for joining us in Your Healthy Living, and have a great day. Thank you, David.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, David.